Wow guys, I'm playing Pac-Man for the arcades. The original Pac-Man came out back in the year of 1980, and I have to say that the original Pac-Man is truly the king when it comes to arcade video games. That and Donkey Kong and Galaga and Dig Dug, the list goes on and on. Anyhow, what are my thoughts about the original Pac-Man in this video game review here today? Well guys, cue the little intro. We're gonna be reviewing Pac-Man. Hiya guys! How are you guys doing this fine day? This is Mr Wii Reviews episode 51B, and for this edition, we will be taking a look at the original Pac-Man for the arcades. Wow! When you talk about one of the best arcade games of all time, the original Pac-Man is definitely on the top of that list. This video game has addicting, engaging, fun, and great gameplay, and I could replay the original Pac-Man from time to time. Believe it or not, guys, I actually played the original Pac-Man today. That's just how awesome and badass the original Pac-Man is. Anyhow, even 40 years later, the original Pac-Man is still one of the greatest video games of all time. And this video game is truly impressive. Arcade games were becoming the thing in the 1980s, and there were games like Donkey Kong, Galaga, Dig Dug, the list goes on and on. Anyhow, how does the original Pac-Man hold up nearly all of these years later? Well guys, find out in this latest edition of Mr Wii Reviews episode 51B. Let's get this video game review started, shall we? Pac-Man for the arcades. This video game is a very fun video game. Your goal is to get all of the pellets in each of the level. The game gets progressively harder and faster. Each ghost has a corresponding pattern in the way that they move. The red ghosts and pink ghosts are the most difficult, and the blue and yellow ghosts are the easiest to detect. In this video game, power pellet is your biggest strength. Later on in the levels though, the power pellets last less longer, so you really have to react fast. The original Pac-Man is a really fun video game. This video game has addicting gameplay where you have to think critically and fast and react fast, and that is what made Pac-Man such a successful video game back in the day. I have to say that Pac-Man, even 40 years later, is still a classic, and I feel many more years later, this video game will have a big lasting legacy on video games in general. What are my final thoughts about the original Pac-Man for the arcades? The original Pac-Man for the arcades, I have to say, is easily the top 3 when it comes to the most addicting arcade games, next to both Galaga and Donkey Kong. I could literally replay the original Pac-Man so many times. If I'm bored, or if I don't have much going on, I normally play this game on my PlayStation 4, and I have to say that even all of these years later, the original Pac-Man still holds up. Competitively, the original Pac-Man is crazy, and there are literally world record high scores for this video game. That's how high of a bar that Pac-Man raised on arcade games back in the 1980s. Anyhow, I think you guys know what I'm gonna give this video game as a score. I'm gonna give this video game a 10 out of 10. Easily well deserving of that score, and even 40 years later, the original Pac-Man still holds up very well. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this latest edition of Mr Wii Reviews. This has been episode 51B, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching this review.